And welcome back to the Wicked Good Golf Show. Our tip of the week is sponsored by DiStefano Hair Restoration. Dr. Mark DiStefano was one of the best in hair restoration technology. Check him out at drdistefano.com. Bomber, we got our tip of the week this week, and right now we're talking about the grip, correct?
The grip is what we're talking about. And this is what, how many tips have we had? 3?
This
4?
is our 4th tip.
We should have started with this one.
We should have started with this
Absolutely.
one.
How to hold the club.
How to
really
hold
should be
the
number
club.
one.
Right, yeah.
And that's what we're going to go over today. I've been playing golf, I figured out today, for 42 years. And
You don't look a
to
day
this
over
day,
42.
I still, whenever I have a club in my hand, I practice getting my hands on the club. It's a never-ending process. Some days you play, they feel a little different than others, but really I try to put them on there exactly the same way. And I actually got a pen on me here. I'm going to draw some lines so that people can see exactly.
Art class today, huh?
And we'll start with the left hand. And where I like to put the club is there's a lifeline right here, and it's actually underneath your first knuckle of your, knuckle of your pinky. And this point right here on my first finger, the first padding, okay? So as I catch those two, and I'll turn this way to the camera, I'm going to catch both of those spots like that on the side of the club, and then my hand will wrap over like that. Notice the grip is under the heel pad of the left hand. Lots of times you'll see people grabbing it like that. You want to make sure it's under the heel pad.
Yep.
And again, if you hit those two lines, it will be. And as the hand wraps over, the thumb ends up roughly, you know, if this is a clock, 12 o'clock being on the top, 1, 2, 3. It rests, my thumb rests around 2 o'clock, which is a good place. So it's a little bit off the side, not really straight up, it's a little bit off the side. Okay? So that's the left-hand grip.
Now, is that, Donnie, is that what you...
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the things I try to get people to talk about, too, is that they don't grip over the top of the club, you know, because I think when you get to the top, if your hand's above the club, you
A little more on the end?
Yeah, you lose the grip some. So I try to get the newer people at least to see the butt when they're gripping the club.
Yep, that's a great idea. So it hangs off a little bit.
Yep.
So now we're going to go put the right hand on there.
Yeah.
And there's actually 3 pressure points in the grip. The one between the 2 heel pads,
Right.
this is number 1, right there. And then this one here actually is number 3, which is that similar one as the, put this back in my pocket. So that first pad,
Right.
that first pad goes at 3 o'clock if we relate it back to the clock. So that padding, as you
3
can see,
o'clock,
is right
yep.
there at 3 o'clock. That's pressure point number 3. Number 1 is right between the 2 heel pads, and you can see once I get this one on there, that's where the thumb goes right between the 2 of those.
Right.
Okay? So those are your pressure points. Number 1 is right here. A good drill actually is to take a penny, stick a penny in there, because when you grip the club, you never want that coming undone. That's always in there. That's pressure point number 1. Pressure point number 3 is this finger right here. And actually, Hogan had a lot of this in his book, that this finger was, and you can see, is pretty much a, you can really see him pushing down with that finger on the side. A lot of people, they get that thing underneath. Donnie, you've seen this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They get it underneath, so if it is a pressure point, you can see that that'll cause the club to come up.
To lift and serve.
Yeah, and how many people you teach at the club, they keep hitting the top of the ball. So this pressure point number 3 is critical to be at 3 o'clock on the side, and you can see now that my pressure point is being pushed down into the ball. The last pressure point is the last 3 fingers of the left hand. So those are the 3. And if you just move in towards me a little bit, and you can see on this camera, I'm just going to rest this on your hip, but as I try to push you can definitely see these pressure points engaging.
You can see the white here on that pressure point.
It's
right
turning,
there.
right? Yeah. That's a big one. And actually that's one, better players when they swing, they actually feel that pressure. They feel it all the way through their swing. There's no give up on that number 3 pressure point. So that's the grip. I'll do a quick review. You hit these 2 lines right here. Wrist folds over, thumb at 2 o'clock. Again, we catch this pressure point here at 3 o'clock on
And that's the first one you catch.
Yep. Fingers wrap, and then there. Now, the last piece, I'll hold it up this way because there is a connection. There's 3 connections that are okay. This one I use is called the overlap.
Yep.
There's also an interlocking,
Yep.
which is also permissible. And I even let people do the 10 finger if they choose. There's a guy on tour right now doing that.
I actually hold
Yeah.
10
That's
fingers.
So
Tommy's-
10 finger works as long
I
as,
think there's a couple guys, I think, actually.
10 finger works,
Yeah.
again, as long as you're hitting all these little lines that
Right.
I drew on my hands.
I mean, one of the things, not to interrupt you, one of the things I try to tell people is as long as you're doing everything he talked about originally,
Right.
I don't care what you're doing underneath with that finger.
Doesn't matter.
It's kind
It's
of
personal
the
preference.
grip,
You mean
exactly.
The interlocking,
yeah.
whether or not.
Yeah, the
Total
grip, the
personal
grip is
preference.
kind of what he talked about. Those are kind of laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Underneath the personal preferences, whether you interlock,
And
overlap.
it's so
or
important to
hold
be able,
Well-
because that's the only thing you have going.
I think the other thing
with the
too
club.
that a lot of times
Hands
we
to
don't
club.
talk about enough though is tension, because I mean I do a lot with kids,
Right.
and I try to tell them if I told you to take that club and throw it as far as you could, or take a ball, whatever, would you hold it loose or tight?
Right.
And I don't care what they say. You know, if the kid's 7 years old, he might say tight. I say, okay, hold this ball as tight as you can, throw it as far as you can, and all of a sudden it lands on the ground. Okay, well now hold it lighter and throw it. And so again, the only way I can make the head of the club go faster is I can't be choking the grip in.
Right.
I can have a beautiful grip, but if my pressure is
right.
too much,
A little
right?
oily, right?
Yeah,
A little oily
absolutely.
in the hands.
Because it takes the tension out of your upper
Yeah,
body.
it's
and stuff,
it's a
too.
great tip, and they can get you at East Coast Golf, correct?
Yep, that's where I am right now. I do have a new handle.
Yes, you do.
It's Jimmy Bombard golflesson.com.
And they
All my
can go on that
information's
website and they can sign up to get golf lessons
Yep.
down at you. or
Send me a
Northborough
message, give me a call.
And terrific. Our rule of the game this week is about really teeing up in between on a tee box, because a lot of people don't know you can't do some things, you can do some things. Can you put your ball in front of the tee markers, out ahead, in between the tee markers? You have your tee markers are here, right? And then can you put your ball in front of those tee markers closer to the green?
No.
What in the penalty for doing that? Have you seen guys
Well,
do that?
I think it's twofold. In match play, your opponent can ask you to replay because you
Right.
played from a wrong position. In stroke play, it would be a two-stroke penalty.
Two-stroke penalty. Have you seen that happen at all?
I mean, not in a better players tournament, but I think if you went to any club that you and I would
Right.
play,
You might see
I mean,
that.
you see it
You
happen
see
all
that
the
happen,
time. I
yeah.
mean, I think better players would know the common rules
Right.
like that.
But you get up to a tee box, and tee box is not, doesn't
sure.
look good and everything. You're trying to find a flat piece.
And a lot of times the
And
tee
everything
markers
else.
aren't square either and
Correct.
stuff. I mean,
So you're looking
How
for a
far
different
back
place.
can you go from that tee marker backwards to be able to tee? Is it 2 club lengths?
I'm pretty sure that's what the rules of golf allow is two club lengths.
2 club lengths to go, but you can stand outside the tee markers as
Yeah,
well too.
absolutely.
As long as the ball's
is
inside.
within the, yeah.
As long as the ball's inside, you can stand inside. You can stand outside the tee marker, and some guys actually use that as an alignment tool.
Yeah, well, it depends
as
on
well.
the shape of the hole too. I mean, if you're trying to hit a right to left shot, a lot of
Right.
my friends that are former caddies, they hook the hell out of the thing, and they're all standing outside that left-hand tee box
To
because
get
they're
on the
aiming
left,
down the
yeah.
right-hand side to hit the
Open
sweeper.
up the fairway a
Yeah,
little bit more.
and vice versa. The poor player that slices is normally on the other side, aiming down the left.
That's
you know,
where I
so
used to be.
He's
I,
lefty, so it's
I don't
all,
know.
it's all
Oh, okay.
messed up now.
Yeah, I hit the ball from
He's
the
on the
wrong
opposite side of the world.
All right, guys, we're going to take our break. And when we come back, we'll talk about Settlers Crossing.
Great.
Everything that you're doing up there, which is some great stuff up in Lunenburg. We'll be back with more of the Wicked Golf Show right after this.